Yo. Yo. Wake up, man. It's race day. Let's go. It's race day, baby. Get up. Come on. When I started running, it was for two reasons. One, as I was getting close to the peak of my bulk, I realized that my cardio state was actually really bad. And two, I felt like as a human, I should be able to run a certain distance. That's supposed to be our whole thing. And I feel like I at least owe it to myself to be able to run at least a mile down the road without keeling over, you know? I know that for a lot of people, running is a way to kind of clear their heads. And I can kind of understand that. It does clear my head, but then it fills it back up with a bunch of thoughts of like, oh my God, why am I doing this? I hate this. What is going on? So it really just replaces my existential dread with current dread. I guess I see this point come to life, and an example I'll give you is when I'm running a race, I feel motivated. I do pretty well. Oh shit, it's a deer. Oh, there's two deer. Oh, there's three deer. Hi. I guess crouching is like a predator thing. But as I was saying, I see this in a race. When I'm running a 5K, I do phenomenal. My time is the best that it's ever been. I set my 5K record times, but when I'm practicing my 5Ks or going for my daily run or every other daily run, I do not do nearly as good. And I can show you this right now. I'm practicing a 5K and it just feels harder. My legs are tighter, and I'm stretching all the same, but I got less breath, I'm out of energy. Right now, I'm at 4K and I'm at 32 minutes for it. My 5K time is 32 minutes, so in a race, I'd be done by now. But I also feel the extra motivation to push myself. And I do push myself because I'm driven more by the potential accomplishment than I am by just running. For me, I'm practicing for this race to get the accomplishment of competing against myself. For everybody else, I feel they're just running because they like to run, which is probably the better reason to be doing it. I just want to accomplish stuff, and I feel like I should be able to run this far in general, which ironically it seems like I can't because I'm walking. Funny as look, this lady can't hear me. She has no idea. She has headphones in. She can't tell. No idea. Make this a quick PSA to my ladies. Don't run with both headphones in if they're noise canceling, because she had no idea.
I still can't hear anything.
She can't hear me now. Well, I can't hear me either, but be safe. Now, as I'm sure you can tell, my reasons aren't exactly full of inspiration. It feels like the best I could come up with to justify getting into this was like, I might as well. I might as well do it. Something I want you to remember here is that your reasons for doing something don't have to be a big deal. You can do something just because you want to try it. That's the only reason you need. For me, Their reason was feeling like I should be able to run away from something or someone or to something in a reasonable amount of time. When I started, I did not want to commit.
Do you like running? No. This shit fucking sucks.
I tried running in the morning. I tried running in the middle of the winter. I tried running in the parking lot outside of my apartment complex. Probably the worst ways to stay committed to something. Just make it unnecessarily miserable on top of the misery that it already is. The first thing you should keep in mind, and this applies to a lot of things, is that progress is not always linear. You have ups. I haven't stopped running since I started. That's a big deal. You know, it took forever. It's all good. I'm almost there. I'm almost back at the car. You have downs.
I don't know how people do this, dude. I was out there, I'm sweating like a pig. I sound like a murder victim in the middle of getting murked. I'm out there. I only ran 3.5 kilometers. By the middle of kilometer 2, I'm out there, like trying not to die. I set a marker for myself, and I'm like, I just gotta get there and I can walk. And it was not getting any closer. It was just far away the whole time. My left knee hurts. My right Achilles hurt. The top of my right foot hurt. I got a headache all over my head, in the back of my head. I got earaches. I got both sides. Everything hurt. I had this crazy cramp right here the whole time. I'm just... Why do people do this on purpose? I'm people now. Why do I do this on purpose?
That's just how it goes. Some days you will do worse, and some days you will do better. I spent a lot of time practicing running daily, running every other day, to eventually running every 2 days in preparation for running my first 5K. There were days where I ran my first 3K and I felt like I could keep running. I was just so pumped that I could run this distance that I felt like nothing could stop me. I could probably run forever. And then there were days where I was literally a single kilometer and a half in, and I was like, oh my God, I'm not a runner. I can't do this. Even now, some days I run, and I'm 2 5Ks deep at this point. Keep that in mind. I run, and I feel like I have never run a day in my life. Like, all the practice and training I've done up at this point has gotten me nowhere. I got a cramp in my side. That hurts. If I run too fast, I can't breathe. If I run the speed at which I run at when I can't breathe, I'm basically just walking. So I might as well just be walking like I am now. Because clearly I still struggle running the same distances that I ran just last week. Except last week when I ran those distances, they were a lot easier. So progress is not always linear. Some days you do better, and some days you just have an off day. But it's still progress. When I ran my second 5K on St. Patty's Day, I set a new time. And this is important. This is important. The first half of that race, I smashed every single record on Strava that I had created so far. I ran my fastest time. I was not out of breath. I was doing impeccably. Like, it felt like the god of running had taken over my body and run this race on my behalf. Then I stopped to walk because I thought I had a little bit of extra time. I could relax for a bit. I don't know if that's what triggered it, but after that, I had the worst time running that race.
and I could barely run the rest of it. But I did so well in the first half that I still finished in 32 minutes, which was 2 minutes faster than my last 5K. My goal was to run a 32-minute 5K by, I think it's June, because I Googled it and that said that was the average 5K time for my age group. And here I was running it on my second 5K months ahead of schedule. Your goal for running should just be to get 1% better every day. And eventually this is going to compound. And 1% can look like literally anything as long as it's progress. If you had no motivation to get up and run, you just didn't want to do it at all, but you got up and you did it anyways, you're 1% better at the mental game of getting into running. You're 1% closer to consistency. That's 1% better. Even if you went out there and your run sucked, you were still 1% closer because you were battling the mental battle of running or starting something even. That's where I have most of my problems.
I don't know if you can hear me, but the finish line is right ahead of me. I can see it. I ain't gonna stop. It's over there. I ain't stopped yet. I'm gonna do it.
Now, I know it never seems like it when you're first starting something, or maybe even before, but if you do something and you keep doing it, you will get better. It has to happen. No matter what, if you keep doing it, you will get better at it. Now, I know if you're like me and you try something and you're not immediately the best at it, kind of lose interest in it. If you suck, it's not really fun anymore. I think that applies to a lot of people and a lot of things. But if you stick with it, you will be able to do it. That's how going to the gym works. That's how running works. That's how any sport ever works. That's how anything ever works. That's how life works. If you keep doing it, you're going to keep getting better. That's how it is. The second thing I learned is, listen, it's okay to be slow. You're going to be slow, actually. You can't really get around it. Nobody just starts off fast. Some of us are definitely starting off better than others, but nobody is starting off the best. Nobody's starting off at their goal times. Nobody just starts running and is exactly where they want to be by the end of the first run. It's okay to be slow. It's okay to suck. Running a race is a process. When I was in high school, I could run a 5-minute mile. I ran that once. I ran throughout high school in the form of soccer, but I never ever bothered to measure that time again. I took that time and I ran with it. Didn't even bother to ever time a mile again in my life. And when I did, I was very secretly hoping to myself that I was just going to pull out another 5-minute mile and that I was just still going to have it after all these years. I was like, you know what? I'm still young. I bet I could do this 5-minute mile. And I started running and I realized this was not going to happen. I think it took me like 13 minutes. I did the mile a lot better than I thought, though, because although I was secretly hoping for a 5-minute mile, I expected to not be able to run the mile at all because running is also hard. But as I was saying, it turns out that even though I hadn't done any cardio since high school, which was 6 years ago, I could still run the mile just fine. Not in 5 minutes, but I could run a mile without stopping. And that was a big deal to me. And if you haven't started running yet, you'll realize it's a big deal to you when you start as well. You can see my times here in kilometers and for miles. These times are very slow, obviously. Nobody said they had to be that slow, but it's okay to be slow. You're still a runner if you're a slow runner. Just like somebody at the bottom of the leaderboard is still a player. If you run, you are a runner. That is the only prerequisite that you need to be a runner. Just be someone who runs. You don't have to be someone who runs record times. You don't have to be someone who runs a 5K in 32 minutes. You don't even have to be someone who can run a 5K. If you run, you are a runner.
This carries over from the last point I was making, where if you run slow, you're still a runner. The next thing I learned is your identity. You need to identify with what you want to be. If you want to be a runner, you have to identify as a runner. You can't show up to your first 5K or your first race or even your first practice run for yourself. You can't show up to your first anything and not identify with the thing you're trying to be. Those stairs took me out and all I did was walk up them. See, look at that. I'm a runner and I just got winded by stairs, okay? I'm breathing heavy into the mic. Just a staircase that I just walked up very nonchalantly. Like I was saying, the only prerequisite to being a runner is if you run. If you run regularly, you're a runner. I don't care if you run once a week and it takes you 15 minutes to do a single kilometer. If you run, you're a runner. You are someone who runs and you need to identify with that. You will hold yourself back if you see yourself only as someone who tries to run. You are what you repeatedly do. That might just be some cheesy quote to you, but it is the truth. If you repeatedly run, guess what, man? You're a runner. You're a runner, big dog. You won't believe that you're a runner unless you run. I look probably goofy as hell doing this. That's okay, because I'm a runner. No, it's not. It's still goofy. I also got clogs on. I didn't plan to run for this video. I didn't read the script ahead of time. I was actually secretly hoping that my time was going to be a lot better in the race than it was during my practice times, because my practice times, the places that I ran for my practice runs were like 50% uphill, but I was also worried that the 50% uphill part wasn't going to matter, and the truth is that I was just going to be slow, which would have been okay too, because like I said, it's okay to be slow. I'm not even gonna lie, actually, when I'm running, I listen to all those Hope Core videos on TikTok. I have a whole playlist saved to just motivational Hope Core advice stuff, and I just listen to that while I run. I'm not even kidding. A lot of people recommend music. I'm here to recommend a TikTok Hope Core playlist. I've also done music, it also works. So either or, whichever floats your boat. The goal for my race was not to set any kind of records. It was literally just to finish. My only goal was just to finish the 5K, because prior to the actual race, I had not run a 5K, and I wasn't even sure if I could run that far, let alone like worrying about hitting a time record or something. I didn't even know if I could do it. My whole goal was just to run the whole 5K without stopping. I discovered during the race that people do stop and walk. I didn't even know that was an option. I don't know how that never occurred to me, but I thought, like, if we're gonna do this race, then I have to keep running the whole time. I can never stop. And that's what I did. I never stopped. I just kept running the whole time. Look, just keep doing the do, and you will eventually be able to do